Good morning, Ginger.
Good morning, Toral. How are you doing?
I am doing great, thank you. How are you doing today?
Just great. Really excited to be talking about AI skills.
Yep, that's it. That's an exciting topic. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Unlocking Data Insights with Microsoft Fabric AI Skills. We are thrilled to have you here today as we explore how AI is transforming the way we interact with data. I'm Toral Goradia, Chief Operating Officer at Santor Technologies, a Microsoft Fabric featured partner specializing in data analytics and AI. We focus on empowering organizations by leveraging Microsoft Fabric and other advanced technologies to drive innovation and insights. Our team has successfully implemented several data and AI solutions across industries. We specialize in helping organizations migrate from data visualization tools like Click, Tableau, business intelligence tools like Business Objects, and other on prem and cloud databases to Microsoft Fabric and Power BI using our proprietary Migrate to Fabric solution. I am joined today by Ginger Grant, who is a Microsoft Data Platform MVP, a Microsoft certified trainer, and a recognized expert in data and AI. In this session today, we will dive into how Microsoft Fabric AI skills empowers business users to access and analyze data effortlessly without writing complex SQL queries. So stay engaged, drop in your questions in the chat, and let's get started. Ginger, over to you.
Great. Thank you so much. So, obviously, AI is such the thing now. Everybody wants AI. And to be honest, it can be rather expensive and time consuming to create an AI chatbot. There are a number of ways you can do that. This is far from the only way you can do that. But I want to show you how this might be a way of kind of ramping on. And you can improve it over time, improving the ability of AI skills to answer questions with your data using real world queries. And this is something that users have been asking of databases, geez, probably for the past 20 years, wanting to, I don't want to write a SQL, I just want information. Now, what's great about AI skills is it is something that is in preview, and Microsoft is working on making it better all the time. They just had a recent feature upgrade on the 26th that allows you to include different items inside of AI skills so that you can have more than one data source, and you can even include your Power BI semantic model as a source for your AI data, AI skills data. So let's take a look at what you can do with it. So, oops. AI skills are a way for you to create a chatbot inside of Fabric, and not just inside of Fabric, because of course you can access it programmatically once you've created it. But you can build an AI generative agent inside of Fabric, and you can ask it questions with data that you have stored in Fabric, and it's super easy to set up. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are really anxious to go out and try this, you cannot do this with a trial version. You must have a F64. So that is kind of a preface for it. And it is using this preview feature of AI skills. Now, you also have to do some setup information for AI skills to set up, and we'll take a look at those steps as well. You need to, do some configuration. It's not just going to work out of the box. The administrator needs to provide some things. And of course, you can add Warehouse, Lakehouse, semantic models, and SQLDB as your sources, up to 5 different sources inside of Fabric. And it is hosted inside your chatbot that is hosted inside of Fabric. So you have a one-stop shop for not only all of your data information, but for also asking questions of your data. Now, a couple things about it is still in preview. Whoops. And it uses the OpenAI API. And it can generate code in DAX, KQL, and SQL. And you can tune it by providing examples. So let's take a look at it inside of Fabric. And of course, first off, I want to take a look at what you need to do inside of Fabric to be able to do this. So of course there are some steps that you need to do. So let's take a look at those first. So I'm going to go into Fabric and take a look at my tenant settings. This is the Cooking School version. This is it already done. So going to the admin portal, I'm going to make sure that my tenant settings are set up to do this. You'll notice if you haven't been inside of the admin settings that there's always new stuff being added because and they let you know what's going on so that you can see that. And you can see here that now service principals can access admin APIs. It's the last one that was added, and it shows you that option. We're going to go through the ones that you need to use to be able to do.
Ginger, I am sorry. Are you sharing your screen?
I am trying to. Let me go ahead. If there's a technical issue,
no problem.
Let me go ahead and fix that.
Because we're still sitting on the slide deck. Yep.
Okay, let me share. Change these settings here. I think I accidentally did it without having the entire screen share. I was just sharing PowerPoint. My apologies. All right, so here I am inside of the admin portal. And inside the admin portal, this is where I can set up that I'm going to be doing all the setup that I need to do for Fabric. So first off, I'm going to need to go to so many things inside of Fabric that I'm going to need to just browse for it. It'll make things faster. And I'm going to look at users can create copilots. So this is one setting that you do have to have enabled. This users can use Copilot and other features powered by OpenAI and also the OpenAI service. So you do need to have this set up to be able to do that. So, and by the way, it's not this one at the top, it is the one at the side. So you need to make sure that this is set up to be able to make that happen. And also, let me look up another setting that you need to look at is the data needs to be enabled to show to other places. So you need to have this set up. So unfortunately, for those of you with GDPR, this might be an issue, but you need to have your data sent to OpenAI can't be outside of your region. This must be enabled. Otherwise, you can't do that. You can't do this. So I need to make sure that this is set up. And of course, the other setting that you might want to do is enable this as well. So you need to have all of these different settings enabled for it to work. And of course, the next thing that you need to be able to have set up is looking at the users can create and share AI skill types. So this needs to be set up as well. Another thing that you have to set up, like I said, there's a number of different settings that you have to deal with for OpenAI or for AI skills is looking at the integration settings. So I need to be able to spell integration. So you do need to make sure that you allow XMLA endpoints. This is required All of these steps have to be completed in order for your AI skill to work. Now let's take a look at how to do that. I need to be, of course, inside of my workspace that has Fabric capacity. So looking at my license info, this needs to be F64 to be able to add an AI skill. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my AI skill. Do that with new item. And scroll down to AI skill. For those of you who haven't played around with Power BI, maybe in a month, you'll notice that all the skills exist now because there's only 2 options here now, Fabric and Power BI. So you'll see everything here. So here is what I'm going to do to set up my AI skill. And I'm going to give this a name, and I'm going to call this AI skill. And since I'm going to use this as my primary source, I'm going to call it AWDW. So I'm going to go ahead and create it. Now, this is the great thing about AI skills. Unlike a whole lot of other things that you might have done from an AI perspective, this is really easy to set up. So I added my data source, and it is validating it and then adding it to my AI skill. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for it. Notice that I do have to look in my notification bell here to see if it is done, because it's not that obvious. So it's easy. You can look at these 3 steps. They're pretty darn obvious. So I'm going to select the tables, and I just want all of them. So I'm going to have everyone. So then I can, of course, ask some questions of my data. And looking at my data, I've got sales territory, products, and customer information here. So I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, get started. So I want to give the AI some overall instructions. And these overall instructions are going to help information, help it better learn about my data, because I'm going to tell it about my data. So I can provide it information that's going to make it easier to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it, whoops, that I cannot. Let me make sure that I master cut and paste first, right? So the sales table contains quantity and sales amount that can be returned to the number and dollar amount of the sales table. Product contains all the information on the product table, and sales territory contains information regarding the region and country where a sale was made. So this is going to help it get smarter about the information, because I'm going to give it these instructions. So now it's going to know a little bit more about my data so that I can better train it to do stuff. So I am going to ask me, say, do some of these, show the details, and see what we get for this. And have it create one for us.
I think Ginger has accidentally closed her session.
Unfortunately, it looks like I've been having nothing but technical issues today. So let me go ahead and share my screen again.
Okay.
It's going to go ahead and do that. All right. So it's telling me that it needs more information. So when I told it to show me the details for a specific subcategory, I got some problems. So let me give it some sample questions, maybe for it to get smarter. So I'm going to look at the sample questions and then see about what I can provide for it so it can be smarter. So I'm going to do that by giving it some example queries. So I'm going to go ahead and add some example queries. So I want it to get smart. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to add an example. And the example that I'm going to give it is so that it'll know which product has the highest sales. So I'm trying to make this smarter. So I'm going to give it a SQL query to be able to do that. So because I know a couple things about SQL, I can enter a query. Now, if you want to do this initially, I'll show you this cooking school version, and then we will go ahead and show you how I got there. I'll look at my details. English product name. So I need to make sure that I have double checked my query. So let me double check. Oh, I know what I did wrong because I took this from straight up the database. So let me show you how we can make sure that our queries are right before we're doing this, so that we don't do what I just did. So I'm going to go to my Lakehouse, and I am going to create a query. I'm going to paste that query that I just put in here, and I'm going to fix it because it was taken from an older source. So I'm just make this say sales.
Ginger,
Yep.
sorry to interrupt, but I'm getting feedback that the screen is not visible and they can see a black screen. I am able to see the screen, but this is the feedback that I'm getting from the
Well, let me
attendees.
stop and
Can
present.
you, yeah,
Yeah.
reshare, please?
All right. So can you see it now? How's that? Was that able to see it? And now I'm saying that you're on mute, Toril, so I cannot hear you.
Yes, we can see the screen now if that's visible. Thank you, Jayant, for your feedback.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and run this query. And it says that I have div product in here. So I need to fix this to products. And then go ahead and run this. And is my name products? No, it has no S on it. Go ahead and run this. And this is going to give me my answer, total sales. So I can go back to, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back to my skill here and give it this example and give it some example queries. Go ahead and edit this. And this is not obviously any place where you can do any writing of SQL. So since I wrote it already, I'm going to go ahead and have it validate, which it is doing now. And now I can say, oh, great, that is how you can figure out which product has the highest sales. So let's go ahead and add another example. And let's see what we want to do for this example. So for this example, I'm thinking that I want to look at what the total sales are by country. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. I'm going to go back to my SQL endpoint and ask it another query. And I'm going to have it give me the, copy this one. I'm going to modify this slightly. I want to do total sales by country. And country is in sales territory. So I can add sales territory here. And it is smart enough to know that my data lake is, of course, case sensitive. So it put the appropriate case sensitivity there for me with IntelliSense. But if I'm going to do sales territory key, that has IntelliSense as well to get me the right case for this. And I'm going to group by, instead of this, I want sales territory country, which I also need here. And I'm going to then go ahead and group by this value. And I'm going to order by total sales. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. And now we can see the total sales by country. So I'm going to add this to my SQL skill as well. So these are the kinds of things that I can do to make it smarter. So now I can ask it, and you can do stuff like this to get it smarter over time. And also over time, this will improve the speed as well. So here we go. We've got all of my sales by country. So there we go. Just a couple of steps for that. All right. So that's how we can go ahead and set that up. Now, as you saw, you can improve upon the initial data that we get by looking at that sample questions with answers. And you can also gather feedback from people and say, hey, what can you do with expected information? And next, I kind of wanted to show you what you can do to, if you want to publish this. So let's go back to our sample here. And we can, of course, over time, we can clear chat. It's going to erase the chat history. And then I can also go ahead and publish this. And this will be allowing you to and so once it's published, then I can provide that to people. And I can take that published version and also incorporate that inside of different coding environments that I might want to do that as well. So here is that skill. And I can always go back in and then add more queries to it to make it smarter and publish it again. So I can also, add to my AI instructions to give it a lot more information about the different tables. That will also help it get smarter over time. So it'll provide more value. Now, there are some limitations with AI skills. You can't use data in OneDrive, text files, PDFs. And you can't change the large language model. This is using OpenAI and it's grounding it with your data. It is unfortunately right now limited to English, and you are limited to 5 data sources. So if all these limitations are like, that means it's not going to work for me, there are some other things that you can do when it comes to developing a Copilot solution. Of course, these come with limitations, a lot of them being the level of involvement that it's going to take to make them work. One of those is Copilot Studio. It's a nice little tool that allows you to ground Copilot with your data and make a chatbot out of it. Of course, you can move to Azure AI, develop your own large language model with any model that you want. Of course, that's not exactly effort-free by any stretch of the imagination. You'll be needing to write some code, and the cost is going to be dependent upon the model that you choose and the plan that you choose as well. So it won't be encapsulated inside of Fabric. You can also choose to write an Azure bot service, and the bot services uses cognitive services, which is kind of the predecessor to all the large language models. And you can definitely use that to get a chatbot that you can use where you want to as well. So with that, wanted to leave some time here for questions. Do we have any questions, Dora?
Ginger, not so far, but I have a quick question. Just leading into what the previous slide where you shared the multiple AI options, right? Can you summarize, you know, the scenario would be the best fit to use AI skills? When would I go with AI skills versus the other options like Copilot and, Azure AI that you mentioned?
Well, one thing is that I know that a lot of companies are really interested in getting AI and getting AI quickly and getting something up and running. And what a better way than doing this, kind of a limited effort functionality and process that you can get inside of Fabric. It's also going to be included inside of your Fabric tenant, so you're not going to incur any additional charges. And I know a lot of times people aren't think that they want AI because they don't have it. If you once they use it, they may decide that, well, you know what, I'm getting a lot more answers faster if I can just look at a Power BI report where I don't have to sit around and ask the questions. So it might be the best solution in that kind of a scenario. The other thing too is that this does not take very long to set up. If you choose to go with something that is a lot more comprehensive, like looking at Azure AI, there's a lot more effort involved, a lot more knowledge involved in terms of the skills that are going to be needed to make that work. Copilot Studio, less skills, but again, additional cost and a lot more effort. You can choose for that to have different uh, data sources. So your data sources are not limited if you go with those other options where they are pretty limited to Fabric data, but that might be where you're answering all of your questions. So it depends on where you're looking for answers a lot as well.
Great. No, that makes sense, Ginger. I'm going to actually ask you another question. Ginger, is can you create Power BI visuals with AI skills?
Unfortunately, at this time, that is not something that you can do with AI skills. You can get it to write DAX for you, but you can't get
Right.
it to write a visual for you, unfortunately.
Okay, that's something that, we look forward to in the upcoming releases.
I
Okay.
hope so, but I have no
The-
idea if Microsoft is planning that or not. One of the ways
Okay.
you might be able to find out is going to Fabricon.
Yes, we are super excited. We're going to be there at the FabCon and would love to get more insights, the roadmap, for Fabric
Mhm.
as well.
That'd be where to get more answers.
Yep. Okay. I don't really see any other questions come through, Ginger. So, Ginger, in terms of, how can users find more insights with their data using this tool?
One of the things is that a lot of people are looking for assistance on maybe getting code that will be written with their data sets, so you can use AI skills to do that. And also, under better understanding, what is in the data sources that you have. Maybe you can ask it a bunch of questions and find out more information about your current data environment, especially as you start incorporating more elements into it and tuning it as well to give it more questions and answers that people are looking for.
Right, that makes sense. Okay, wonderful. Um, Ginger, I don't see any questions come through, so I think we can, wrap up this session. So, as we wrap up today's session, I want to take a moment to thank you all for joining us here today. We've explored how Microsoft Fabric AI skills is making data more accessible, empowering business users to generate insights without complex queries and ultimately driving smarter decision making. Ginger, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today, and to our audience for attending this session. If you have any further questions or would like to explore how Santor can support your data journey further, please feel free to reach out to me at tgoradia@santortech.com. Thank you once again for your time and participation. Have a great day, and we look forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you all. Thank you,
Thank you.
Ginger.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right.